Hello, my friends. We're back. So get your painting smocks and your brushes. We're going to do we're going to finish another project. I didn't know if I'd get to this or not, but my boy is sleeping. Turns out he has an infection, and the vet gave him some medicine, and it was, he was pretty bad. The white of his one eye started to bulge because of the vomiting. We went up to the vet, which I'd planned on anyway, and they did some tests and stuff. They did have to give him some oxygen and stuff like that, but it turns out he's allergic to the hard dog biscuits, we think, because his stomach's not digesting them. And someone gave him one in a store, and usually he doesn't take dog biscuits from anyone. He'll look to me for permission, but she was darn near shoving it down his throat. It was either chew or choke. And I had been distracted by the clerk and didn't see it happening until I looked down and he's munching, and I heard a gagging noise. I turned my head and she's got the biscuit half down his throat. He's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. He's got a pretty bad infection. They said that it had been just sitting in his stomach and he couldn't digest it, and he was throwing up for a couple of days. And I had been giving him ginger and ginger tea because ginger's it helps reduce nausea and vomiting, and it's safe to give for dogs. And ginger tea usually helps him when his tummy's a little upset. He has a very sensitive system because of giardia that he had when I first got him. And usually the ginger and the ginger tea do the trick. But it didn't do the trick. And then I looked, he starts doing this. And I looked, and I called him over to me, and the white of his eye was starting to bulge on the left. So I called emergency vet assistance. They got me in, and I still got to pay about a $300 vet bill, but he's going to be okay. He's on a soft food diet for a week, 2 weeks of no working, and about a week of soft food. And they said he's probably going to lay around and rest for quite a bit. So that's why I was distracted last time we were painting. But he's going to be fine. So, and on good news front, y'all know the struggle is real with these dentures, right? But I got tired of the dentist not getting them adjusted correctly. Don't do this at home, but if you need to. My friend said her dad used to adjust his own dentures. So I took a pair of nail clippers and some sandpaper because they were too long in the back and too far long up and down in the front, and it was pushing them up against my gums and rubbing something fierce. I trimmed them myself. They have sealed great. I've been able to eat peanuts off and on today, and pretzels, which are snacks I really enjoy. And it didn't get under my dentures. It's not hurting to wear them now. So I think now I can love my dentures. So that's all the gossip. If you hear the music in the background, I do not own the rights. Today we are listening to Hallelujah, He's Born by Sawyer Brown. Sawyer Brown owns the rights, not me. I just like listening to it. So, now the gossip time is over. Here's where we stopped. Now, I did something to experiment. I painted the gold on the star. Now see, that's not as bright as I want it. So we're going to keep the gold metallic for the center of the sun. But I changed our paint for the outside of the sun, the corona. It is going to be pale daffodil, apple barrel, 50 cents a bottle. So you can get your highlight colors at Walmart. You don't have to spend a ton. This is not sponsored by them, but I just want to show you what materials that I am using. So we're going to finish this up, and then we have 2 of these and 3 of these. So we're just going to do a simple polka dot pattern to all 5. They're going to be different individual, but it's going to be a theme that'll run through all 5 of these to create a set. Now remember, last time when I told you terracotta will soak your paint in really fast. I did do the rim in another layer of gold, and I really like that. We will let me get my speech out. We will clean this up in trim paint, in finish painting. Now, I prefer to work upside down on my pots like this. So we're gonna take the black. This is licorice, the color I think is from Multi-Surface. It's licorice. And we're gonna go over Coco Pele. Whether I'm saying that right or not, you can correct me in the comments. But we're gonna go over him. Go real slow and get your detail brush and do not load it heavy. This is a time you're gonna wanna go slow and not have a lot of paint. Brace your hands against something if you have to. I got a block of wood here that I'm gonna put so I can put my hand on it, so that, and I'll probably put the pot on it so I can brace my hands a little bit. And we're just gonna go real easy, but we're gonna go over his foot first and paint our way up. If you make a mistake and you go outside of the raised area, don't flip. Especially if you're someone who has tremors when holding small objects. This is perfect for someone who's recovering from a stroke, for example. Picking up dominoes or painting, anything to make them have to use their fine motor skills. And if they get mad at you and yell, just let it go. I've always said it's easier to be born disabled than to become disabled. But this is great therapy. Plus, it's just fun. Now, you're not going to need long strokes when you're walking in a small area like this. Be sure to keep your strokes short. You shouldn't need very long strokes, but you still want to cover the area and not make it look choppy. You might have to go down on the base of the pot to get the whole raised edge. That's okay. We can clean it up. I'll show you this as soon as I get the first coat on. You know, I'm looking at it. With this licorice color, we may not need a second coat. But it might not be as smooth looking if we only leave it with just one coat. So we probably will. Here's what we got so far. See how that's going to stand out against the teal color? And if you prefer not to work upside down, that's fine. Now I want to show you something. See how I've got this pinky kind of bent and I'm bracing it against the lip of the work? That's another way you can steady your hand. Because even if you're not disabled, if you don't use a certain grip very much, your hand might start to shake because those muscles are not used to being used. So don't let it dissuade you, don't let it discourage you, and don't freak out. You're not having a stroke. You're just using muscles that aren't used to being used, and they're going, hey, woman, what the heck you doing to me? So this is good work for anybody. And kids love to paint. You know, I don't know how many kids are still on lockdown from school with everything that's going on, or if you homeschool. This is a great art project. Get a bunch of these little pots. Like I said in the other video, let them paint their own pot, plant their own plant, chart its progress. In the end, eat the vegetable they grew, and maybe they'll eat them better than just picking them out at the store. And if you don't have a lot of room, you can container garden. Even tomatoes. There's our first coat on Coco Pele. See how he just jumps out against that teal? Sometimes something as simple as the color change can make a design pop. You don't have to have designs that are intricate to have an awesome look. You can even tape something off with painter's tape and paint in the lines and just do a simple line design. Or like we're going to do on these other pots, polka dots. You don't have to be... Painter's tape is a great tool for designs, because you can tape off parts that you don't want to paint, and it can help you with your design. And you can do a more intricate design if you so wish. This is my happy. This is my zen. This is amazing to me to be able to take something that I considered awesome to begin with. I mean, this is a pot I would have bought just the way it was, because I thought it looked cool. And there's some pieces that I've picked just because they're so butt ugly and they need help. Make me pretty again. I've just started trying to restore some pieces, and that's more difficult for me. But change things up for yourself in life and in your projects. Now see, this is too much paint. Let's get some of that off there. You're not doing a big area, so it's easier in a small area to make more smaller strokes than trying to get it all painted in one stroke. You're going to mess up the small area, and you're going to blur your paint job really bad. No one taught me any of this. I am self-taught, and I wanted to teach others something that I really enjoy. Now, I want to show you. There's the original Coco Pele, okay? There's the one we just got painted. Tell me in the comments, what color would you have used? Do you think this is a drastic enough change to make it look good, or do you think this is going to look bad? What are your opinions? Your opinions count too, especially when it's your project. Never be afraid to state your opinion. Yes, people are going to disagree with you. That's their prerogative. Doesn't mean I have to let it affect my life. We're almost done with this one Coco Pele. See, you're just doing one smooth stroke. And you're not doing a large stroke because it's a small area. And what I think is fun, I get these, paint them, then I give them away. This is going to a place called Harmony Clubhouse for them to sell, for the members to do activities. I'm not getting anything from this. And I don't say that to brag. Not at all. If you want to sell it for profit, or if you need to sell it for profit because of food prices are going sky high or whatever, you do what you want or need to do. Don't you ever think you have to do something because someone else said they do it. No, 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 no. You live your life. The only ones that you got to report to are yourself and your creator. So if you don't agree with me, like I've got a lady who is staunchly against me not going to church right now. And she thinks just because I live across the street from the church, I need to be there every time the door is open. It's not between me and her. So her opinion doesn't matter. So I'm not going to explain myself to her. I don't need to explain myself to anybody, neither do you. There. Let's rinse our brushes. Sometimes, especially small areas, hold on. If you go over that small area more and more, while that may be good for a big area, be very cautious when you're doing a small area, because more coats can actually make it look, it won't define it. If you put too much paint in a small area, it's going to make it look blobby. Kind of like Blobby off Hotel Transylvania 2, you know? Sometimes less is more. Boy, I sounded like my grandpa just then. Hi, Grandpa. Okay, so Coco Pele's done. Now this is Terra-cotta, so he's going to dry real quick. Let's grab our external yellow. We can load the brush a little heavier for this one. And we are going to work from the outer edge to the center edge, because you've got a tip. I've still got a little too much on my brush. If it's looking like it's going to drip, that's too much. Barely press the edge of your brush on the tip of the star and pull inward. Press, pull in. That's all you're doing, because you want to get that defined edge. Press, pull in. That's all you're doing. Now this will take 2 coats. Again, I didn't primer it, so we have that terracotta orange under there, which is fine. But it's going to make things a little more difficult than if I would have primered it. And the real reason I didn't primer it, I didn't think about it. I like to tell people, you'd be amazed at the things I don't think about. And remember, you want to stay going in one decoration. Yeah. Direction. That's going to need another one. And we're going to put more gold in the center. So, this is already dry just about. We can already put the second coat on the sun. Terracotta is so fast. I love it and hate it for the same reason. I love painting it. It takes paint so well. It looks so outstanding when you paint terracotta. I would suggest you primer it first. Do as I say, not as I do. But I think you'd really be pleased. But be aware, you won't have long to fix any mistakes. Happy little accidents. Isn't that what Bob Ross used to say? It's not perfect, but I like it. So we're going to leave it there. There's another one around here somewhere. There it is. Another good thing about dipping your paint out on either a painting well, a paper plate, whatever. You accidentally contaminate your paint, didn't get your brush clean enough, now you got black and yellow or whatever. You're not contaminating the whole bottle. It's really not a good idea to paint from the bottle. You've seen me do it, yes. Have I contaminated whole bottles with paint because I was painting from the bottle? Oh yeah. And sometimes that can change the paint color enough that you've got a really interesting, unique paint color. But sometimes it just wastes paint. Now, on this one, you can go heavier on the first coat if you want, if you can control the paint enough that it doesn't smear. And it will look better, especially a lighter color on terracotta. Sometimes you've got to go over it more than you think because of the way the paint will soak into the pot. Now see, I did that one a little more heavy. That's fine. All right. Clean your brush. Well, wait a minute. Catch your tray. See, this is why I don't edit. It's real life. Now, if this hadn't been terracotta, we would have had paint everywhere. But it's terracotta, so it's mixed. It's already dried. That's too much. Somebody asked me the other day, how come I never edit my videos? Are you quite done? It's 11 o'clock. I don't edit my videos because I can't edit life. And I want you to see life uninterrupted. I want you to see everything, the good, the bad, the mistakes, I'm not perfect and I'm not going to pretend to be. And I know a lot of people that do great YouTube channels and they edit and it looks fabulous. I'm always so impressed with their editing. I like watching the cooking shows where they have a cutting board in front of them and then they have like an onion and they kind of toss the onion or put the onion down. Next thing you know, it's on the chop board all chopped up. I think the editing is so cool, but I don't do that. Personal preference. Now, I do have some smears there at the top. See that? That's okay. We're going to fix that in finish painting. There's that. Rinse your brush. You know what? I just had a brain drip. We're not going to use gold to go in between the suns. This is burnt umber. We're going to make them look like sunflowers. I don't know if it's right or not, but somehow my brain is saying sunflower. My mother loves sunflowers, and she plants these one called Mexican sunflowers. So we're going to make these sunflowers. Now, you got your brush loaded, just like this. Take your tip, straight up and down, dump it in real quick first. Here's what you're going to come out with. And we're going to do push down, pull straight up. I like that. What do you think? You know what? This might look better than the gold rim. We're going to see. There's our sunflowers. Those are amazing. I love it. Now, I'm going to take and redo this rim. Just because I think the brown would be echoed on the rim, and I think it's going to look good. So what the gold is doing now, since I'm putting straight over it, and I'm laying brush down, pushing down, and pulling out on a short stroke, pulling it back toward me. Lay it down on an already painted section so that it looks like there's a continual flow of the color. And then pull it. The gold is acting as the primer, so that the color for the terracotta is already covered. Just do that. Hold on, I lost my paint. I like the brown better. And see, sometimes you're going to have that happen. Sometimes you're going to change something mid-stride, and then you're going to really love what you changed better than you liked the original. And again, that's perfectly fine. And also, again, using the thumb to keep the paint off of the white part, because we don't want the paint to leach into the dirt. This would be really pretty with an aloe in it. And I happen to, have some aloe that need replanted. So I may replant an aloe in this and then send pot and all with the aloe in it. Or I might just send the pot. I don't know. I don't know if my aloes are ready to be transplanted. And I try not to transplant in the winter. And we're coming up on winter. So they might be without an aloe. But an African violet, something like that, this would look cute with a plant in it. Now we're just going to redo the edge here. Now this is going to take a little longer to dry since it's not in direct contact with the terracotta. This part, since I'm painting over an existing color like this, it won't dry as quickly as the gold did. All right. And I'm just taking my brush, just like we did before, and pushing down and pulling the stroke. Keep pressure on the brush as you pull the stroke through so that you have a continuous looking line. Don't worry if you get some of your rim color on your terracotta, the teal. We can fix it. Don't panic on me. And see, this doesn't take long. But it'll look smoother if you don't lift your brush too much. It's still going to look not too smooth the first coat because it's the first coat. But it's still drying quick because of the terracotta. Even with another coat on there or a primer, it's still going to dry quicker than anything else you've painted. So be aware of your materials that you're using as well as the paints that you're using, such as oils, watercolors, acrylics. That has a factor in your painting as well as the canvas that you're using. Like in this case, our canvas is terracotta. What if you're using a stretched cotton canvas or a piece of wood? All these things are going to dry differently because they're going to accept the paint or soak it in differently. And a lot of times figuring that out is sheer trial and error. You can't always look up the answer with Google. A lot of times you're just going to see how it reacts as you paint. Christmas goes right to the heart. All right, here's the first. And honestly, folks, let me know what you think in the comments, of course. But I really like this. But it needs to dry. However, let me sit this down. This is our final product. Now this will get a lot deeper. Off camera, I'm going to let this dry and then do the second coat. Okay? I'll do a separate video for these little pots. Probably either today or tomorrow. But I kind of want to keep a closer eye on my Archie today. But I wanted to finish this up. This is going to have to dry, so it's probably going to take a couple hours to soak in and dry before I can do a second coat. And then what I will do is I will clear coat it. When you clear coat it, I use a spray clear coat. Whoops, drop your paintbrush. Let's not do that, okay? Hold on a second, I want to show you something. No, I'm not clear coating it on camera. When you do your first clear coat with it up like this, you can put a new crumpled up newspaper or something inside here if you don't want the clear coat to get inside, but it really won't hurt anything. But go close to the rim, around the top. You don't need to be way up here when you're doing a shorter area. Pull it back when you're doing the sides. But when you're doing a small area, you might around the rim at the top, you're going to want to be a little closer. Also, if this stuff bothers you and you're using spray, you grab your mask for your COVID mask. Wear that. And and ventilation. Make sure wherever you're going to spray is well ventilated. Okay? Now, I could technically go ahead and do the second coat, but there's still some spots that are way too wet. And if you do a second coat before the first coat dries, it's going to smear. And that's universal. That doesn't matter what you're working with. That's universal. It's going to smear. So be cognizant of letting it dry. This is not something you can do and then have it done at snap. It doesn't work like that. I hope you enjoyed our painting today. It's good to see you all, and have a good day. Bye, everybody.